This presentation will explore some of the most devastating cyclones in Australian history. We'll examine their formation, impacts and valuable lessons learned to improve future preparedness and resilience. And just a trigger warning, we will be talking about people dying, animals dying, injuries and property damage. Just warning, okay? We will begin by understanding how tropical cyclones form and are classified in the Australian region. Then we will review major historical cyclones, the impacts, and finally discuss trends and consequences and adaptive measures. Okay, some of the ones listed here are Cyclone Mahina, 1899, Cyclone Tracy, 1979, Cyclone Yassi, Cyclone Vance, Cyclone Ingrid, and others. Okay, Cyclone Veronica. This section explains how tropical cyclones develop in Australian waters, the categories used to classify their strength, and common weather patterns that can lead to severe cyclones. Tropical cyclones form over warm ocean waters when low pressure systems intensify. In Australia, the northern waters provide ideal conditions such as warm sea surface temperatures and atmospheric instability. Cyclones are categorized from 1 to 5 based on wind speeds, with category 5 being the most severe. These categories help predict potential damage and guide emergency responses. Certain weather patterns, including monsoonal flows, Madian and Julian oscillation, often influence cyclone development and intensification in the Australian region. And cyclones are not only now just occurring in tropical waters, as in tropical regions of Australia, now due to climate change are starting to occur in subtropical regions. They start to occur lower and lower down, okay, as a result of climate change. Cyclone Mahina, the deadliest cyclone in Australian history, devastated Bathurst Bay in 1899. We'll cover its timeline, impact and tragic aftermath. Cyclone Mahina formed in March 1899 and rapidly intensified before making landfall near Bathurst Bay with catastrophic force. The cyclone generated a massive storm surge, which is water increasing, destroying settlements and vessels, severely impacting the local community and environment. So you get flooding, okay? Massive storm surges and very high winds, okay? So you get a lot of water, a lot of winds. Cyclone Tracy in 1974 remains one of the most infamous cyclones, causing widespread destruction in Darwin. We'll explore its formation, impact and long-term recovery. Bit hard to do that with Mahina because it's so old, but Cyclone Tracy is a bit more recent. The cyclone destroyed over 70% of Darwin's buildings, leaving the city in ruins and thousands homeless. And I just briefly flicked over the slide before that was talking more about like the timeline, which I didn't think was quite relevant. I just wanted to get to the destruction, okay? 13 lives were lost and many residents were evacuated. Reconstruction efforts transformed Darwin's urban landscape. Okay. Cyclone Yassi was a powerful and large cyclone that affected Queensland in 2011. We will review its meteorological origin, path and impacts. Yasi rapidly intensified over warm waters before making landfall as a Category 5 cyclone, one of the most intense in recent history. Yasi traversed Queensland's coast, impacting towns and agricultural communities with strong winds and flooding. The cyclone caused billions in damage, severely affecting the sugarcane and banana industries. Cyclone Debbie formed off Queensland coast, reaching Category 4 intensity before making landfall with severe winds. This cyclone caused casualties, displaced thousands, and damaged homes and infrastructure across multiple regions. Heavy rains led to widespread flooding, impacting ecosystems and water quality in affected areas. So whenever a cyclone happens, it's not just a severe flooding that's causing problems. It's not just severe winds, but like a lot of water gets contaminated, a lot of like waterborne diseases and mosquitoes and other insects that often gather around these sorts of things, a lot of dead animals, unfortunately, can cause severe problems in the area. Cyclone Vance was a powerful Category 5 cyclone that struck Western Australia. Its extreme winds and damage are unfortunately noteworthy, and this happened in 1999. Vance rapidly intensified over the Indian Ocean before making landfall near Exmouth with record-breaking wind speeds. The cyclone caused extensive structural damage, uprooted trees and disrupted utilities in Exmouth and nearby areas. Vance recorded some of Australia's highest wind speeds, promoting improvements in building codes and emergency planning. Now, a lot of buildings in cyclone areas have to be able to withstand, in Australia, by law, must be able to withstand a Category 5, because we get the top part of West Australia, Northern Territory, Queensland, and now as the cyclones are getting lower and lower, more and more has been, so a lot of things are having to go into place sort of now to protect subtropical areas, but in the tropical areas, a lot of buildings must have Category 5 protection. Cyclone Ingrid was unique due to cross-continental path affecting 3 regions. We examine its formation and impacts, and this happened, Cyclone Ingrid was 2005. Ingrid maintained strength while moving across Queensland, Northern Territory and Western Australia, an uncommon occurrence. Each region experienced flooding, wind damage, power outages, testing emergency response capabilities. So this is another thing that happens with cyclones. Unfortunately, utilities like power and water get severely affected. Internet, also telephone, anything like that. Or, like telephone cables, power, a lot of everything, all utilities, get severely affected. So that's part of the issue. Evacuations and warnings helped minimise casualties, though many communities faced prolonged recovery. And that's another thing. Often with these cyclones, they cause, the environment is severely damaged, and the surrounding communities often damaged and take a lot of recovery efforts. Cyclone Veronica was a slow-moving Category 4 cyclone that caused significant impacts in 2019, especially along the Pilbara coast. The cyclone disrupted mining operations and infrastructure, affecting regional economics severely. Yeah, and that's another thing. It can disrupt industry, putting people out of work, Obviously, the native animals and flora and fauna are big at risk, and the lives are at risk, people at risk. Veronica's impact highlighted the need for improved environmental management and cyclone preparedness in industrial zones. And that's something that's become a lesson now for a lot of the top part of Australia. The following section reviews historical cyclone data, explores climate change influences, and discusses adaptation strategies. Data shows variability in cyclone frequency and intensity over decades, with some periods of intense activity. And we're in right now, due to climate change, cyclones increase with frequency and increase in ferocity. They increase how much damage they do. So we're getting more of them and more severe. Okay, and this is due to climate change. Climate models suggest possible increased cyclone intensity and changes in cyclone tracks to global warming. It's not possible, it is now that confirms that climate models suggest that there are increases in cyclone intensity and changes in cyclone tracks due to global warming. We're seeing them start to come into subtropical areas of Australia. We're getting more of them in the tropical areas and more ferocious too. Improving building standards, definitely, and this probably should occur Australia-wide. Early warning systems and community evacuation and education are vital for reducing cyclone risks. The final section examines the wide-ranging impacts of cyclones on people, economy, and ecosystems. Cyclones damage infrastructure, disrupt industries like agriculture and mining, and lead to very costly efforts. So they can cause damage to, buildings, roads, bridges. It can cause to flooded fields. It can drown farm animals. Mines get flooded, damage equipment. And recovery from all of this, to all of the damage and environmental damage, is very costly and very time consuming. Storm surges and flooding harm coastal habitats, coral reefs and marine life, affecting biodiversity and fisheries. Understanding Australia's worst cyclones helps improve forecasting, emergency response, and resilience to future storms. Continuous adaptation is necessary to safeguard lives, property, and ecosystems. And we need to do something about climate change, okay? End of story. There you go, the end. Thank you.